Tough luck.
The average podcast doesn't last more than 7 episodes, and we're on segment 6, and I already have a segment 8 pre-record. I messed that up. Motherfucking segment 6. And you know what? I'm not even counting the interviews that I pre-recorded before this, and I already have segment 7 pre-recorded as well. I'm on a fucking roll today on the TL, which is the tough luck. Isn't that funny? We're gonna call it that now, and it's gonna be great. I know it sounds like I'm in a great mood. I think it always sounds like I'm in a great mood. I'm just like an overall positive person. I think because I'm always really peppy and bubbly, people assume that I haven't experienced any hardships. But if you've been following me on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever, for a while now, you realize, you know, this bitch has gone through so much shit, and that is why I am the person that I am today. You think any normal girl that hasn't been shaped by immense traumatic effects in their life would be as driven and motivated and addicted to fucking working and improving themselves as I am? No, they wouldn't. Well, maybe. Well, no, I don't know. That's one of the things that brought me to come to record this today, because initially I was just going to post the part 2 to the previous segment, because the previous segment 5, which is the one with Dende and CA, where we talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, is split into 2 parts, so I was going to just post the part 2 after this. But I've been inspired to come to the microphone, and I was not going to push this urge away, because I need to talk to you guys about some things, about the podcast, about myself, about my brand, about what I represent, about what I want to deliver to you guys, and why I do it. Now, I'm a very small influencer. I'm an influencer, okay? I am, because I literally make all of my money from solely social media, affiliate marketing, all of that. The realm that I'm stepping into, and as I work with more brands and more influencers, I notice the same or different qualities in these influencers, from what they talk about on their profile to how they act in real life. And even though they're really inspiring on their profiles, with the self-improvement gurus, I realized that, and going back to, because I listen to a lot of self-improvement podcasts, I am a self-improvement podcast, so I know the top influencers in my niche. And after contemplating and comparing myself, observing, I just don't know if I relate to them as much as I relate to the influencers that have openly talked about their past issues and trauma and how they overcame them. I know Gary Vee always talks about how he worked his ass off while he was in college to build up his parents' wine business, but he went to college. I know he's an immigrant. I'm an immigrant too, but I didn't go to college. I didn't have the benefit, the privilege to go to college. I didn't have money. I could have gotten a loan, and I even got a scholarship to St. Thomas University. But when it came down to it, I couldn't make ends meet to start. I couldn't gather enough money to start the first semester. And then I ended up going to community college for 2 weeks, sat in an English 1 class, which I had already taken twice from transferring schools in AP in high school. And I was like, this is bullshit. This is such bullshit. I just didn't understand why I would have to sit through more basics in college whenever I had already sat through AP Chem 1, AP Chem 2, AP Physics, and I was going to start community college all over again with the basics. So I said, fuck that. Not doing this again. That's why I didn't go to college, because then I would have to get a degree to pursue something that I was already actively pursuing. Guys, I started dropshipping whenever I was 18. Or I was like 17 whenever I first got into dropshipping. And I didn't do the whole automated Shopify thing, because whenever it started trending, it became so much more streamlined and automated. But whenever I was doing it, I was manually typing in customers' addresses from the supplier to ship to the customer. I have a problem with all of these influencers being seen as role models or examples to these Gen Z whenever it's unrealistic. And whenever you're growing up as an adolescent, the last thing, a lot of people look up to the influencers that are like flexing, and they use that as a motivation to think like, one day that'll be me. But emotionally, it doesn't help. It doesn't help to look at yourself and look at that person and think, wow, I'm different. Realistically, whenever people see an example of what they want to be like, it's not just taking a course. It's not just learning. First, you have to learn how to learn, first of all, because if you do a whole bunch of learning but then not executing, then what are you really doing? You know, like a lot of people take marketing classes, social media marketing classes, but then don't actually do it. Or your Forex course that you bought, did you actually finish it? Whenever I was part of a Forex team, half the people in my Forex team were just there for the network marketing and not to actually learn the Forex courses. I realized after talking to a couple of people that I had finished my Forex course and they hadn't. They were all there to do the network marketing, which seemed like the easy way to make money, which it is for some people. But what happened to wanting to actually learn a skill? After all, whenever people come back to me with projects, it's not because of my Instagram. Like, I barely have any followers now, but it's because of the skills that I've acquired over the years, which is very amateur skills, but I'm still on a different level than the other people that don't know these skills, such as Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and I'm not even great at it. I just know how to work my way around it, and then I Google shit whenever I need it. That's another thing, is people don't really know that they can Google shit. I see people asking me and other people stupid questions all the time that can be fixed so easily by just a Google search. I think people just don't know how to learn, do their research, use your resources. I hear the excuse all the time, I don't want to start a YouTube because I don't have a camera. Such bullshit excuse, and you all know it. Another thing I want to point out, also you guys, I know I said I would do an unboxing for the microphones that I just bought for my last episode, but I had some fucking tech issues that I need to work on. So I ended up using the backup mic audio, and it sounds like absolute trash, and I was really upset about it because it was such a good podcast episode. But on this podcast, I want to be open and honest with you guys, and I want to show you guys be like transparent with you guys with my it's not that serious, but like I really want to show you guys the tech process that I'm going through, because I want to show you guys that you don't really need high top equipment to have a successful content creation. I want to show you guys the equipment that I'm using because I want you guys to stop using not having equipment as an excuse to not create the content that you want to create. Or a lot of you guys think that you need to get the workshop or you need to watch the YouTube videos, and yeah, you can, but you're going to learn more by just doing. I'm learning so much as I'm podcasting along the way. I'm also learning more about photography, videography, editing audio, mixing and mastering. Yeah, you gotta start with what you got. If not, you won't start at all, and then a year or two will go by and you would have wished you started a year or two ago. I'm really glad I started a year ago whenever I didn't have a camera and I was editing on my phone. You know, sometimes I wonder why I've made it this far. Sometimes I discredit myself, but I shouldn't. I'm fucking self-employed. It's everyone's dream to be self-employed. I've lived in luxury apartments. I have an amazing stable car. I love my car. I don't feel like I need anything more. I've adopted minimalism. I'm fucking happy. I stopped dragging around my pains and what I've been through. I stopped wearing that as an identity. Sometimes I forget it even happens. It's just because everything's been going on and everybody's been coming out and everyone's just hurting. I feel like the earth is just taking one big, deep breath together. But my past is not the narrative that I want to carry forward. My past is something that people like me doing what I'm doing now, I don't think usually are in this place. And that's why I feel like I want to be an influencer, because I want to be an example for the kids that didn't have the privilege of therapy. Therapy is such a luxury that I never got the benefits of experiencing. That's why I take care of myself a lot, because I'm all I have. It's always just been me. I had a very different upbringing than my sister too. We had very similar upbringings, but also different in many ways. I didn't really have anyone stable or any stable family to look to. I always had to find different friends' houses to go to after school because mommy was working. I have a great relationship with my mom now. Amazing relationship with my mom. I love her so much. But at the time, it was just hard. I moved out whenever I was 18, and I just now, at 22, moved back home for the first time last month. Well, I lived here for 2 months, like 2 years ago, but I don't really count that, because I didn't even have my own room. I slept in her dining room. I would have killed to have someone to look up to like myself whenever I was in high school. I feel like I want to be the role model for the quiet girl, the one that doesn't fit in. The one that's too weird for the normal kids, but too normal for the weird kids. I'm not even really sure why I did so good in school. All odds were against me. And I worked a job, and I was in AP classes, but I just did. And I want other people to look at me and know that it's going to get better. And know that it's possible to excel, even if everyone around you just looks at you as if you will be a disappointment, because you're not. It's up to you though. And stop pitying yourself. Stop carrying that around. Whenever you talk to people, do you have the urge to tell them everything that wrong that has happened in your life? Or does it make you feel better to post about it, about your traumas? If so, then that's a sign that there is definitely something that you need to work on. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I've been through it too. I wrote an article about it that will be coming out in October in Culture Vulture Faces magazine, and I invite you all to read that whenever it comes out, but it hasn't come out yet, so can't read it yet. Anyways, I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about me. Wherever you're listening to, share this with a friend maybe. Wherever you're listening to, make sure you subscribe, whether Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever, and leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. My name is Desanti, like the water bottle, Desanti, but with a T, and I'm 22 years old, and I am on an amazing journey. You guys are watching me build myself up from the ground up. Thank you all for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next segment, which will be a more lighthearted, funny, comedic, entertainment type of thing. I love you guys so much.
Tough luck.